let's break out this BT7. Again, it's the Russian fast tank. Now, this was part of a demo that I did at Little Wars last year. We'll just ignore the turret, but let's play over here. Let's play tanks. What are we gonna do? Let's grab a couple of colors. We're gonna grab some of this olive green over here. That's gonna go right over here on the palette. Again, this is gonna be a nice little review for everybody. We are going to grab a little bit of our ivory black here. You hear that sound? That is the sound of pewter as an agitator. Hobbies for Happiness, welcome in. How are you doing? Oh, and by the way, we have found our new favorite color here. Is this my indigo? Oh, yes. This, loving the indigo here. Now, I have not had a chance to make it into my own little version of oil brushes, so we're going to chuck that over on the side there. And what we're going to do is take our spirit/thinner over here. That's what's in this container. That's going to go out over here like so. And let's just go wild here. Like this. Yes, it's messy. Yes, it's fast. We're just looking to get some kind of color here down into these crevices. Something. And we're going to work off of this. It's the same basic technique that I use for miniatures as well. You just kind of have to get past the stage of, oh my gosh, what's happening there? And what we're going to do is we're going to slap all this stuff on, then we're going to hit it with our weathering powders. Not our weathering powder, with our sponge, sorry. It's we're 6 hours into the stream here, so we're not wording right now. And just as it is here, let's take a little bit of that, get that into some of the road wheels. That Christie suspension right there. Let's take advantage of that. Like you do. Yeah, let's get some of our olive green into here. Oh, let me see. Well, I'm just oh, thanks Hubbies for Happiness. I appreciate that. Now, of course, I forgot. The one thing I forgot to do graphics-wise is that on a stream that I did on my birthday, I painted some Italian battleships in 2D art, and that's actually up on the YouTube channel. Well, it's about to be up on the YouTube channel. It has not been made public yet, but I did do all of the stuff that you need, like editing and rendering. Okay, boom. A nice big mess we got there. Take our makeup sponges. And away we go. And you can see some of that. Look what's coming back. I can cut these up into smaller sponges too. So I'll do that. We'll get a scissors here. Let's move you out of the way. Cut up some smaller pieces so we can get at some of those hard to reach areas. And those sponges, just Amazon, pennies on the dollar. Literally pennies on the dollar. But you can see, we're kind of leaving some of that behind. And we're going to do much more with the oils than just that. This is not oils are not just for weathering. They are not just for weathering. They can be done so much more with them. They're smaller, look at how much of that we can take off of there. There's way more rivets on this BT7 than I remember. I don't really remember lots of rivets on a BT7, but wait till you see this. I'm going to after I do this, I'm going to let this sit for just a minute or two. And you'll see some of the other stuff that we might be able to play with tomorrow as well. Oh yeah, Drew, that really worked out well, your embroidery on that big old creature caster. Is that Queen of Ruin or something like that? I'm guessing, is that what that was? There we go. So now we've got ourselves something we can work with here, and we're leaving intentionally some of that stuff behind in those crevices there. Now, check out this. It's going to take a while for it to stroll on by, so, you know, BT7, right? Now, here it comes. Here it comes. Wait for it. Wait for it. There we go. There we go. It's still going. It's still going. It's still going. There's your T-35, baby. All 5 turrets. Trenchworks goodness. And for good measure, you know, I also have a T-28. Because, you know, big tanks with too many turrets. Because, you know, that's not a problem at all. I take one of our brushes here. And let's find ourselves some green. We're going to mix that with some of our indigo here. There we go. Nice little kind of a weird Russian green. And now we're going to go back into this. We're going to change up that color a bit. And as you can see, we're not doing, this is not piling on the oil paint. Look at that. It almost feels like it's a dry brush. Remember that stuff that we left sitting in the corners here? There was a reason for that. Because look, now we can start doing a little bit of wet blending here. Let's grab just a touch of a raw sienna over here. Maybe not too much, but just a bit. Now we've got ourselves some more muted green that's happening here. We've even got a little bit of brown in there. So much more happening here than just green. And look at that, as I can pull this out. Use that maybe around the turret ring here. Get a little bit of staining on that. Let's get some of our green here maybe on the road wheels while we're at it. Oh man, I'm just going to get caught up on the chat here. Oh, thanks, Megan. Now the palette has a mustache now. Yeah, that palette has seen a lot of action over the last 6 hours and 12 minutes. This has been quite the marathon. Let's keep going with our greens here. There's a little bit of a lighter green. Look at that. It looks like a dry brush, not a dry brush. Look at that. We just have that small amount of paint in there. And again, we're trying to give this the not quite olive green, Russian green look, but see, we've got that nifty color sitting right out there. It's always, I can go back and grab that, mix that in here. Little tools or toolboxes here on the side for some of the pioneering tools. You can see how we're really grinding that brush. Look at this. Taking that brush, grind it into that paint. And we haven't really blended anything yet. We're just playing around here. We're just getting some colors out onto this. Now, if we wanted to winterize something like this, you know, we basically did the exact same thing on this vehicle right here. We see our icicles on there. We got some melted snow in places. We've got our mud and snow mixed together there. That faded green, Snowiak. I mean, you know how much I love to do that. You know, let's get a little bit of a lighter tone in here already. So again, what this is, it looks very, very dry until it gets onto the vehicle here, and then we start to do a little bit of our blending here. Like we can even do something like this. we can even do something like this. What in the world did you just do there? Let's take some of this and chuck it over here and over here. And you say, what's the deal with that? What's that all about? Well, we're going to give our brush a thorough cleaning here with our paper towel. And then we're going to do something like this. We are just going to push this. We're going to scumble this. This is why oil paints don't have layers. They are not like onions. Look at that. Look at that silky goodness that starts to happen. It did just look like that a second ago, didn't it? Yeah, not so much anymore. Okay, over here, same deal. We just start blending this. And look at all the different colors that we're going to get. Look at that. This is why there's no layers. Why screw around with layers? Here, let's get some of this out of this brush here and take some more out of there. You can always have a fresh brush too. But look at that. See that nifty little filbert brush that's going on there? Yeah, look at that. Don't need an airbrush. I mean, that's kind of looking like what an airbrush would do. Let's say you want it, I don't know, even smoother. Well, you just get yourself a fresh brush like this, and then we can do even more soft blending. So that, not long ago it looked like that. Look what we done got over there. Hobbies. What oil paint range do you use? Yes, they are definitely correct. It's Winsor Newton. I'll show you in just a sec here. This is another thing too. You actually do want to leave your paint sit there. We'll leave you sit there, and we'll show you some of the. There we go. Now this, I got this about 4 years ago. This is the Winton here. It's basically, they call it student grade, whatever, but this is about 28 bucks on Amazon-ish, something like that. And if you're in Japan, you can get the Holbein version for a wee bit less. Now this is your straight up regular Winsor Newton right here. This Terra Rosa, not only is it a great skin color, but it's great for, well, rust and other such things. Then you can see here, just, you know, full on raw sienna. This is going to run you between 7 and 9 bucks. This more like 9, 11, 12 bucks. Now, where did my, oh, here we go. Now this is a little bit different. And this is with the Dick Blick discount. This was about 27 bucks. So this one color cost as much as that entire other set. But then that's for different type stuff. So where is my, so this was done in oils. Everybody's got to see this. Bang. So cerulean blue, actually some fluorescent oils, that cobalt violet, that's the kind of thing. That caracolila bust, that's what it would be destined for. And that was actually painted in oils on another long stream, kind of like this one here. So let's go back to our green tank. Where's my, here it is. So let's go over here, and we're going to do the same thing that we did over there. I'm just going to start pushing this paint around. This is why I'm saying there are no layers with the oils. You just put the paint on there, and you start pushing it around. Look at that. Take some of that. Well, let's throw some of this over here, I think. I mean, look at that. Wouldn't this be just a whole heck of a lot easier? I know 40K vehicles were brought up earlier. Wouldn't you like to be able to do some of that on some of those IG tanks and Imperial tanks and, oh, I don't know, on a Wave Serpent or, oh gosh, Fire Prism or any of those Eldar type vehicles? Let's go back in here. We're going to push some of this around now. See that kind of scumbling action we're using there? Look, I just grabbed some of my initial wash again. I'll just clean that out. Now, ain't that just pretty? And wasn't that just so darn easy? Let's see. Ugly says, didn't Didn't really have lots of, well, there's that. Let's see, oh yeah, Bill. Oh, hey, Bill, how are you doing? Let's see. NGS, how the arm, that thing, well, we weighed it, NG. Now, the scale said it weighed 19 pounds. I don't believe that that weighed 19 pounds. I still think it weighed about 7,000 pounds because it sure as heck felt like that. But according to the scale, it weighed 19 pounds. Again, I don't trust that whatsoever. Look at all that nifty little, all the colors going on there. Oh, Bill narrate. Oh, I'm glad you're doing well there, Bill. Hopefully, I'll be able to catch you tomorrow too, when I can do some of that fun, some of the mud and the snow stuff, because we got lots of winter Russians to play with. Here, I'm just gonna get again some of these toolboxes here. Now we gotta hit these things. We haven't really done much with them. We're gonna take just a touch of our olive green there, make that a little more active. And there you go. And let's see, do we have any exhaust? I'm just looking around to see if we had any exhaust things that we can do some of that fun rust. But we can actually do rust on here. We did not get to do rust on our desert vehicle for obvious reasons. Because, well, desert. It looks like a dry brush. That is not a dry brush. We are going to try and sneak a little bit of our green down into here on the hull of the vehicle, like so, and then some back here. So we're just gonna shove a little bit of our green. Look at this, it's already starting to get streaked. Shove some paint on there, push it around. Oh, let's do some more. Let's do a bit more. We'll get some look at that, we're just scumbling that right into the brush, and then boom. Right on top of your paint there. Again, that's some of our initial wash that we can sort of use to reactivate our color a little bit. Let me see. Thank you for that. I haven't used oil paints. I think I'm all caught up on the chat. So we're just trying to get caught up there, folks. Get some of the lighter green on this side over here. I'm trying to think. I don't think I've done any non-winter Soviet vehicles yet. I think everything that well, no. Actually, stuff that I painted for my former bolt action partner there, I think, yeah, there was a Katusha, a T-34-85, and something else. I swear there was another vehicle in there. Oh, a white scout car, that's it. That was the other thing. Now we can get a little bit lighter here too. Grab just a touch of that white. You can tell we're scumbling that into the palette. Lighten that up just a touch. And then we've got this business red in here. Look at all the different colors that we're getting. That's kind of a dingy brownish green. And it also has a little bit of streaking on it already. Bring that down around here. Like so. And as always, I've got some kind of a rag, a paper towel, tissue, whatever. And I'm just doing that because if I try and clean that out here in this liquid, this paint's going to get all liquid, and it's not going to stick here. Because remember, thick over thin and vice versa. Let's see. Would this be a similar process for desert vehicles like the Sherman? Yeah, let's see. Now, I don't know if you saw this right here, but this is what we were We probably spent the whole first half of the stream messing around with this. So it's one of my Italian vehicles right here. And we did the exact same process on this. It doesn't matter. It could be purple. No matter what color the tank is, we used very much the same process on here as we are right now on our BT7. Yep, I figured that you hadn't had a chance to see that earlier. And it's like I said, it's the same kind of effect, same technique that we would use here. This just happens to be Dunkelgrau, but this was also done in oils. Same thing. Now, unfortunately, on my Fallschirmjäger army, that had to be done in acrylics because Operation Sting was, well, it was a little too close, as in like I had days to finish the entire army. So there was no way I could do all that in oils and have it actually dry. Yeah, look at all the fun blending that we're getting to do on this. Now we're starting to make it a little bit later. Let's get some lighter colors on our wheels here. It looks like a dry brush. It definitely is not. That's just the magic of the oils. That is the magic of the oils talking to you right there. Because when you do this with acrylics, you'll get that sort of dry brush texture, that telltale dry brush texture. With the oils, you don't get that. That does not happen. And it's not just, now here, again, it's been a while since I've had a chance to do my historicals, but you can most certainly do brighter colored things in the oils. So these were also painted oils. This one's already on YouTube. This one will eventually be on YouTube. I was painting this one July 4th. You can see there's plenty of colors on there. Plenty of different colors. It depends what you need to do. What do you need to do? Do you need, historicals obviously not going to have quite as much with the bright shiny colors. But blending is still handy, and that is what we're doing here. Look at that. Now let's do something on this here. You don't have much on that surface. I'm gonna pick up a little bit of a lighter green here. And the advantages, if I don't like any of this, I take the sponge and it all just gets wiped away. It's all gone. There are no mistakes in oils, just makeup sponges. Ooh, anybody that's here that knows the drill when we come up with a potential Book of Wappel saying, someone needs to send that to me in a PM. What was that again? There are no mistakes, there's just makeup sponges. Oh, that's got to be added to the Book of Wappel. Now, and by the way, you do have Book of Wappel quotes in your chat rewards there. For folks that have been around a while, you also have the Tomb King, or the Tomb Cities of Susenes. That's another little chat reward for folks that have been in here for a while. Actually, there's also Wappelville too. Oh, look at that. See, now we're just, look at these wheels. I look at this and I say, why would I ever freaking want to do this with acrylics again? Because it sure does not happen that easily with the acrylics. I mean, it's not like it's super hard, but it just ain't that easy. I mean, being able to do all those nifty little blends like that. Hey, we got New Way Designs. NG Luminous, that's what I do. It's Dan asked, do we mount them with putty? It's just your basic blue tack. It is nothing super fancy. Let me see if I can grab some for you here without knocking over the entire camera assembly. So that's all it is. It's just blue tack. And it's just like our French and anorak here, stuck to that jar with blue tack. We've got our Soviet mortar team here again, stuck with blue tack. It's all pretty much the same. Let's just keep going with some of our lighter tones here. Again, I'm getting a little bit of yellow in here too. Actually, this is the it's a little bit of the MIG Ammo oil brusher, and we did use some of the MIG Ammo oil brushers real quick. Look at that. Why is this giving me... I don't have much color on the brush. I'm not really mixing very much over here. Thank you so much, It's Dan, for the sub. That is definitely appreciated. That actually makes a huge difference. It really does. That's why, well, that's why I have stuff like the cobalt violet to experiment with, because that was definitely paid for courtesy of the kind donations and subs on Twitch. If you're asking, well, so why get that kind of color? Well, the only way I can know if there's a real difference between those kind of student grade Winton oils and the real Winsor Newtons like cadmiums and stuff. Is there really that big a difference? Is it worth it to get that more expensive, well, somewhat more maybe volatile cobalt color or cadmium? Only way I can know is by getting them. But as you know now, those are a wee bit on the pricey side. Just a little bit. Look at this. See, because that green initial wash was in there, that's why that kind of turns a little bit green. We can write down in here. Oh, and if you're wondering what the primer was, it was your Yield Badger Stynylrez primer. I mean, there's 18 colors of this stuff. You could practically paint your whole vehicle just in the primer, but there are several layers of primer on here. Let's see, let's go back to, yeah, actually, that's all just primer colors right there. There's no paint on there yet. That's just primer color. And I was already playing around with some of the camel patterns on that just with the primer. Now we're going to go a little bit lighter, but you can see there's a little bit of that yellowish color in there. That's to keep it from getting to be too much of a bluish green. We'll get this a touch lighter here, maybe even here too. Again, able to do all kinds of fun, very smooth blends and some directional strokes too. Yeah, I can even pop some a little bit of light and dark there on our treads if we really wanted to. I'm going to get a little bit of that indigo to mix with my green. And here I don't mind if this is streaked because, well, if we're going to do rush streaks, rush streaks right there, why don't we also get some darker streaks? It's all wet oil paints. A little bit of our lighter green in here too. The palette itself, all that is, it's a piece of cardboard, pizza. Ooh, pizza. Now you know where my brain is. A piece of parchment paper over a piece of cardboard. However, pizza sounds really freaking good right now. Especially after doing this for 6.5 hours. Okay. Again, we are now maybe we can start to think about doing some of the chipping type stuff, maybe some rust that we haven't been able to. Obviously, desert vehicle, we're not going to be doing much with rust. We did that on the exhaust, but that's it. Nixel, so you're saying paints went up in price since that, because they're selling out because there's an opportunity. No, it's that cobalt violet. Where did that go? This is the exact same price it was probably a year or two ago. It's just what's in here is rare earth metal, or very rare metal in here. That's what you're paying for, is that word right there. This cobalt violet in the mid-90s when I was painting in watercolors, that much of it, literally that much watercolor paint, cost about $18 in 1992. So that'll give you an idea of just how expensive that is. Same thing goes for stuff like cadmium. Holy smokes. this container weighs a ton, because again, you have actual cadmium in there. Now I'll show you a difference. So what does that say right there? See that last word? It says hue. Basically, they take another type of chemical substance, and this is not actual cadmium red. It says cadmium red. It's like, it looks like cadmium red, but it's not actually cadmium red. Let's see. It stands as Tamiya just announced a shortage of their paints due to demand. Well, I could see that. I could see that. Now, these guys, this tube right here was 15 bucks, but it's also 55 mil, and it's also a specialty paint. So all of the hues are going to be a cheaper version, just like this. See how that says Viridian Hue? If you were to get the genuine article, it would cost way more than that too. But then, what do you need it for? That's what I'm trying to find out. Is it really necessary to be getting? Is there a significant difference between one and the other? If there's not, well then, okay, just stick with the student grades. It should be just fine. Okay, I think we're going to lighten these up just a wee bit here. And I'm thinking it's time to play with some rust. Now, we were using this. This was kind of interesting. What the heck? Well, let's just throw some out. So we're going to grab another one of our little watercolor dishes here. So that's what had our sand in there. So we're going to take this, grab one of these guys like you do, shake this up. So this is from AK Interactive. We're just going to, we don't need much. We'll just pour a little bit in there. But what I'm really more interested in doing, now let's see how close do we get here. So we're pretty close. Before I forget, I'm going to take some of my green here and just throw this on this turret real quick. Don't mind me. Don't mind me. Let me just, again, slap a little bit of this real quick on here.
So say we all. So say we all.
Beef in the hole. Thank you so much for the subscription. So Beef, I am most definitely looking forward to some oils on dragons. And oh yeah, we did find out that we did just test it earlier that adding some of this, so this is your oil silver, it does turn your regular oils into a metallic, kind of like, oh geez, let me grab this thing here. That's not the easiest thing to grab. So this was a, move you out of the way. We took metal medium, where'd you go? So it's a metal medium like this, and we mixed it with regular acrylic paints and even some contrast paints, and see all the different metal colors we were able to get here. So that is something that I realized now I can do with oil paints. So we're certainly going to try that. Here, let me get you back on there. It doesn't have, that's the magic of this stuff, is it unlike, because I got the Winsor Newton version, there's no, you see no flakes. There are no flakes there whatsoever. It is so finely ground. Let's see. Oh, no problem, Beef. No problem. I just want to... death is just another path. There we go. Am I almost done with this? Yeah, I just wanted to make sure that was in line with... Now it's in line with that. Okay. Again, this was... I think I've probably painted this thing twice now at different demos at different conventions. Now we're going to just grab ourselves some kind of a liner brush of some type here. Like this. Here, let's get some of the existing paint out of here. Now this Terra Rosa over here, that actually makes a really nifty rust color. And I'm in a really nifty rust color. So let's play with some rust over here. We're gonna start with a darker rust, which means we're gonna take some of that, some of our, let's see, that's some of our raw umber right there. So that's gonna darken down that rust. We're going to use a little bit of our spirits, a couple of drops, or 2 or 3. And we're going to have a couple of different rust colors. We got this really kind of a deeper, darker rust color going on. Let's start playing here. Let's move you out of the way. And we'll just let that kind of sink down into some crevices. We don't want to go too berserk with this. You want it there, but not overpowering. In fact, let me just throw a little bit more spirits in that little container. We'll certainly get some over here. And the capillary of action of oils just makes it so much freaking easier. Oh my gosh, so much easier. Now it's going to be even a darker rust over here. Again, not everywhere. Not absolutely everywhere. And, you know, if you don't like it, you just wipe it away. Take your sponge, boom, gone. More of our rust over here. Again, I'm just going to play around a little with this. Maybe take some of that out. This is all wet into wet. None of this. Oh, I'm going to put one brush stroke on there. Then I'm going to wait for it to dry. Then I'm going to hit it with gloss varnish. And then I'm going to wait for it to dry again. And then I'm going to put another brush stroke on there. And then I'm going to hit it with gloss varnish again. And that just makes me want to smash my face into something really hard and really painful every time I hear that. Because it's not necessary. Don't have to be doing that. Also, here, let's play with some of this rust now. I take some of this. This brush actually has some darker paint in it already. This is what I mean about enjoying oils for what they are. If you're going to freaking use them for their full potential, what they can actually do. And now we've got blending brush, and we can just push this around a little bit here. Doesn't that sort of look like it's been stained a little bit somehow? Did I really need to do a gloss varnish between layers of anything? I don't think so. I don't think so. Where did my... Here it is. Yep. Just we'll use this here. We're going to get some more of our rust going in a couple of areas here. Again, counting on that capillary action. And sometimes we just let it sit there. We don't actually manipulate it or mess around with it. We let it just sit there. We also try and focus our rust on areas, well, where it makes sense. And where does it make sense? Obviously in any kind of crevice or whatever. I think it also makes sense around a turret ring. Yes, it does. Oh, look at this. When those craft brushes get so beat up that you don't have a tip on them anymore, well, you just cut them. You just cut them and, oh, it becomes a chipping brush. Yes. Back to a little bit of my rust. Mix that in there. Let's grab our blending brush here. Oh, I could even do something like this. So that same makeup sponge that we used earlier, we could do something like this. Like that. We've got our blending brush here. pushing around that oil. But look at that. I'm just literally kind of lifting it up, scumbling or pushing that around. Use the oils for what it does well instead of, I don't know, that whole gloss varnishing stuff. And look, just use acrylics. If you're that worried about stuff, just use acrylics and put a few extra years back on your life, or quality time back on your life. I know that sounds harsh, but that's just kind of how it is. Look at that fun stuff that we can do. Would you rather just be sitting there waiting for this to dry only to put that gloss varnish on there to put one more brush stroke on, or would you rather do this? And after a couple of hours, end up with that. It's your choice. It's always your choice. Well, look at that. We got a hyperphase. Hyperphase with the raid. Thank you so much. Welcome in, raiders. And folks, if you're not following hyperphase, well, you need to do that too, but you probably already are. I'm guessing you're already following him, but if not, be sure to give him a follow. So hyperphase, how did the stream go? I hope it was fun. I hope you were able to get some of the stuff done you wanted to. Although sometimes while streaming and the more active the chat is and such, maybe you just get a little less done. That's not unheard of. We're just having some fun here with oils. Hey, Mel, how are you doing? Look at that. Just a frayed old brush. Look at what happens now. That is all wet into wet. Yeah. It's got layers. Didn't we say that oils were not like onions? They don't have layers. Perhaps I lied. Perhaps I told a fib. So we went, this is all of this paint is very much wet. It's not just a failure, it's the one true brush.
Hello, little hobbits. Spark my ganja.
Thank you so much for the follow, Bonsai Bart. It's appreciated. It is appreciated. So we do a little tap tap with that. We take our little blending brush here, and when we're gonna soften out some of that, we leave some of it behind. So hyperphase, thank you. Thanks for the raid. I really hope that the stream went well. We are in we're approaching hour 7 of this. This is just day 1 actually. Sometime later today, I will be doing more streaming, and we're going to be doing more historicals because this is Historicon was supposed to be happening this weekend, and I was going to be doing all this kind of yummy good stuff with a camera setup and a big old monitor, and we were going to have lots of fun at that convention. And well, we're doing this instead. Look at this streaking, right? Wet into wet streaking. Yeah, no need for gloss varnish. It flows just fine. So some of the stuff we're going to be doing tomorrow is we are going to be doing some winterizing of vehicles and troops. We're going to be trying a whole bunch of different methods and materials. Hyperphase, are you doing some kind of... yeah, this is basically think of it as a virtual convention. I've done these a few times before. Actually, I think this is my 3rd virtual convention of the year already. But yeah, I'll be doing this again for ReaperCon.
Hello, little hobbits. Spark my ganja.
Thank you so much for the follow, Garmage. Or Garmage, whichever way it is. So we're chucking that over here. We take our look at that thorough cleaning we give that brush. And look at that nice little bit of streaking right there. Ain't that just nice and easy? Wouldn't you like to be doing that on IG vehicle? Wouldn't you know you want to? You're telling yourself, nah, I don't need to be able to do that on Imperial Guard vehicles. I only got like 10 of them to paint. I don't want to do something that easy. we do want to add some rust down in here, I think, for sure. And then we're going to add some over here. We're going to add a little more. Look at that capillary action doing its thing. Look at that. And then we say, we got that rust sitting right there. What happens? That's some nice rust you got sitting there. It would be a real shame if somebody would just come along with a nifty brush and, I don't know, streak it like that. Let's take a little bit more out of this. Yeah. Wasn't that easy? It's just so freaking easy. You know, we could. The chipping is it's gonna be the same way. It's exactly like the chipping that we did on that desert vehicle. Just on the desert vehicle, we did not get a chance to do all this wonderful, fun rust type stuff for obvious reasons. Because, well, desert. Let's throw a couple of rust here on our rivets. So let's get a couple of these wheels going with some rust too. Look at this capillary action doing its thing. Just kind of sinks down in there. We don't brush it on. We just literally touch and tap this on. Oh, let's see. I came in so late. Couldn't sleep. Can't stay long. Long day at work tomorrow. Oh, thank you very much, Garmage. I appreciate it. Okay. So Garmage. Okay. I was like, second way. And I was thinking, all of a sudden I'm thinking like Mandalorian. This is the way. Well, this is the way to get some easy peasy painting, weathering, whatever on your vehicle. We can do rust on our tracks. We can do all kinds of fun stuff. But we're starting out with that darker rust. Let's see, Wicked Elf, is it okay for me to post a link to Cyber Wars? Oh, sure thing. Sure thing. I think I did hit the, oh no, actually, I think there was a quick link thrown up there earlier today. But yeah, the goal is for 2 p.m. Central tomorrow for me to come back and do this again. It might be 3. So it could be 3. I'm just saying. So don't be surprised if it's 3 Central Time instead of 2. Mostly because my voice, because this was supposed to actually probably end about 3 hours ago-ish. But I don't know, I'm having so much fun painting historicals again. I am just enjoying the heck out of this. Wow. Let's get some rust on our. Look at how thin. This is so not T34 right here or KV. I mean, it's hilarious how they went from tracks like this, like you would see on a Crusader or something like that, typical British or Italian tank, and then you get to the T34 and the KV and the IS series and all that kind of stuff, and you got those tracks that are like a mile wide. That's hilarious. They're also having historical lectures, digital games, and workshops. Events can be found on the page above. There we go. So, folks.
Hello, little hobbits. Spark my ganja.
As we welcome in Skiggles Fine. Thank you so much for the follow. That is appreciated. We're going to just do some more. Again, this is our darker rust color. I always got to be aware of that. Taking some of that burnt, or no, was that raw umber, mixing it in with my rust. So this keeps it nice and dark. Look at that capillary action. Oh, is that not just spectacular right there? Let's do some rust on our wheels. Again, the darker rust first, mixing that with our, there goes the neighborhood. Skiggles wants to fangirl. I saw your piece on the Queen of Onslaught. Of course, I don't actually have. What's the one thing I don't have pictures of here is the Queen. Don't have pictures of the Queen, But thank you so much. That was now I'm pretty sure that the VOD of the what was that, about the last 7 hours or so that I did on that. I think that might still be good today. I think it might be good for like today and tomorrow, something like that. But that one was pretty wild. We've got some other creature caster stuff that we'll be doing in oils. Actually, we got a bunch of creature caster stuff we're going to do in oils. So yeah, there is going to be way more where that came from. Well, actually, that was, I think the total time on that was 15 hours because there's a 3-part video series that's about 8 hours. And then I went on stream and just kind of did some additional things to it. The stuff that it would have been repetitive in the video, basically, because there were some parts of that were just a wee bit repetitive, and people didn't need to see 15 hours of me on the video. But the advantage is now I'll be able to take that raw footage. I am going to kind of remaster it, and that'll go up on YouTube. So then there will be eventually all 15 hours. Right now, the first 8 hours is a Patreon series. And I think we're trying to figure out how to have that as a downloadable tutorial on the Creature Caster site too. Look at all this. Look at all that fun. Look at that streaking right there. How easy that was. It's so easy. There's so yeah, right now we've got the first I want to say it's more like 8.5 hours maybe. That's right now it's on the Patreon page, but it will also be available on the Creature Caster site. And there was I think the video focused a lot on some of the assembly type stuff, the composition, and actually there was a lot of back and forth. Well, this is in my head, of course. A lot of mental back and forth over, should that be armor? Should that be lava? What should that be? So look at this. We're just going to chuck a little bit of this out here, and let's play with the sponge. Let's play with the sponge here. And where is my little bit of a blending brush here? Let us do something like this. So hard and soft edges. Look what we just did there. We're not going to kill every edge on this. Let's see, how'd you get that? So basically I paint, it's kind of, I don't want to say it's my job necessarily, but what I do for Creature Caster is make tutorial videos. And I've already done, oh gosh, at least 3 tutorial series on Creature Caster miniatures. Let's see, this is going to be another, this will be up on YouTube eventually. This was about, I don't know, about 4 or 5 hours or so from start to finish. This was done in oils as well. And we've got a couple other, let's look at some Creature Caster stuff. Oh, there she is. Never mind, I do have pictures of the Queen Onslaught. Okay, thanks for reminding me. So that was a big one right there. Oh, and there's him. This was also done on July 4th. Let's scroll through some of the other stuff that's not necessarily historical. So these are all individual tutorials. So I kind of do the same thing for Dark Sword. Their miniatures are used to make tutorials. Each and every one of these represents a 2-hour tutorial. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 2-hour tutorials. From the left or right to the left, oil painting, turbo dork, painting white, trying to get as many colors as you can in the kind of bluish turquoise range, and then TMM there on the Jaime Lannister. This was actually another little Twitch stream right here we did. Oh, that was very fun. This was the latest Patreon page tutorial. That was in oils. So more dark swords here. And now again, see that vehicle right there? That would have been so much easier in these oil paints. I mean, it's green. It's the same thing I'm doing now. Man, would have been so much easier. That would have been so much easier. Organic free roam rust. Yes, baby. It is. Here, we'll smooth some of this out just a touch again. And the idea is we throw, I'm going to grab this one again. We throw some of our chipping over the top of that. And it gives you a very interesting kind of a multi-layered effect. So again, we're looking at some of the chipping that we did there. We will do that on here too. Let's get some more of our rust going here, why don't we? And this, boy, this is nice dark rust right here. Really liking this. A little bit of this around those rivets. Where you'd think it would be. Do you see any of the oil paint coming off? No. The oil paint is not coming off. That is all very wet oil paint, believe me. Yeah, let's get a little something on this. Like you do there. Yeah, that's a very slimy color right on top of oil paint, and it is not taking anything away. No need to gloss coat and all that other kind of stuff. We'll just call it stuff. Here, let's throw a couple of quick little streaks on there. A couple streaks there. Now, sponges. This is one we were using earlier here. Let's see. Was this rusty AK enamel stuff? Actually, no. I forgot. Well, we'll use it later when we're going to do the lighter stuff. So this is the stuff you were asking about. That was just Terra Rosa. That was just my own color right there. Mixed with a little bit of raw umber. Now, I'll take some of this. Let's do some chips here. Get a little sponge action here. Thing is, you can only do this so many times. You got to go back. You got to get some fresh paint. So here's where we got that rust going. Give that little spot of, oh, look at that. Let's get some of these leading edges again. I mean, the places where you'd have chipping. It makes sense, right? All along these edges. Now I gotta go back. I gotta get some more. What sort of matte finish do you use on your oil work? It's the exact same stuff that I use for my acrylics. It's the Army Painter Anti-Shine, and I'll show you that in just a second. So, okay, you say, you know what? I don't like all that chipping there. Oh, wait. It's gone. Don't like it? It's gone. So this is the same stuff I use on my acrylic stuff. This is the only Army Painter thing we use. Out of all the stuff they make paint-wise, this is the only freaking thing that we use right here. Where did my little sponge go? All right, SpongeBob. The sweet thing about doing this with oils is that this stuff doesn't dry on here, and I can just keep using it like forever, which is handy. So we'll go back in here, and we're gonna do some more of our stipple. Oh, we sure need one on this corner. Yeah, look at that. Very nice. How's about some up here too? I'm gonna have to look at my turret and see if I need to do this on the turret, because I'm not so sure the turret has a whole lot of the chipping stuff on there. Yeah, I can even pop some of that on some wheels. Throw some of this back here. Like this. Oh, let's get a little more. Again, our That indigo, man, that is just the most fabulous fantastic. It wasn't super expensive. That was not one of the it wasn't one of the cheap ones, but that's you get what you pay for. That there's a lot of pigment in that indigo. So we were talking a little bit earlier, Drax, right, about you get what you pay for. Well, that's one of those cases where you get what you pay for. Now let's do some stippling out here too. Do we need any more? Again, sometimes too much is too much. And what we can do then is we can go back and what maybe a beat up brush like this. Again, that is the raw umber and that indigo mixed together. Let's see if we can do some larger chips on this. Chips ahoy. Larger chips here. Now we can also use, where did that go? Here we go. So this is a brush that can be used for spatter, or it could even be used potentially for chipping as well. Let's see. Yeah. I think we had done that before. Well, I know where I used it for chipping before. Where's my school bus? There we go. That thing, oh God, it was a solid chunk of resin. It was about a foot long. Not kidding. With that ram on there, it was like a foot long. And you can see, same stuff. Now that was with acrylics. That was not with oils because they had to go in the mail like the next day. But I did use a lot of weathering powders and rubbing alcohol, weathering powders and liquid pigment fixer, which we're going to be trying that tomorrow. So, well, I mean later today because it's already tomorrow. It's 1:07 in the morning here. You know what? Couple of chips on that toolbox up there. It couldn't hurt. Couple of chips over here. Again, remember where we took that rust? So all of a sudden that rust makes a little more sense now. So we got our chips out. Let's see what we got going on. Yeah. We got to do some rust and then some chipping on that turret. So let's do that. Let's do that. Rust. Up here. Certainly over here. Look at that. It just flows so nice. And then, let's just a couple of quick streaks. Why don't we? Back into our rust color. Right on that crazy little vision slit right there. And we'll do some chipping too on the. I always love doing that on the bottom portion of the turret. That's just kind of a favorite spot of mine to be doing that. And look at that capillary action go. Look at all those different fun colors we got happening there. Let's see. Benzabart, let's see, great stream. Have you been painting with oil for longer or just started out? Now, in 2D art, I was actually painting with oils when I was about 11 or so. That's when I first started painting with oils. Miniature-wise, it was this fall, it will be 4 years of me working with the oils and the miniature painting. And I will show you the very first thing. This is the very first thing. Right, is this it? Nope. There you go. That was the very first thing that I painted with oils about, I want to say, 3 years and 10 months ago, roundabout. Yeah. Oh, we got a draconic vision and a Karoo in the house. Let me see. What sort of... we answered that question. I have something to send you to... Yeah, send me a... Whisper? Is that what they call those things? Just whisper. That should do it. Look at that. Look look at that fun stuff going on there. That is just too much fun. Now let's start pushing it around. Start pushing some of this stuff around here and have some fun with it. Look at that. Is that not fun? You can't do this if you're going to let it all dry and then cover it up with gloss varnish. You just can't do that. You can see that it flows just fine. I know that's something that people are concerned about with their oil washes and such. That, oh, they won't flow, they won't streak. I mean, have I had any problem? Have I had any problem with flow? I don't think so. Sorry, it's been 7 hours and 10 minutes. I reserve the right to say things. And welcome in, Drake Koenig, and catch you later, Megan. Thanks again for hanging out. It's after 1 a.m. here, and we're just we're having some fun here with our. Oh, look at that! Is that just? Man, that is fun. Look what that just did there. Just did it. I don't want to say by itself, but it kind of did it by itself. Yeah, let's go back with some of our green in there, and we'll just take some of this rust color now, and we're just having some fun with this. Because, man, I have missed this. I've really missed this. It has been way too freaking long since I've had a chance to play around with my oils on historicals. Let's try some streaking here. So again, this is all wet oil paint. Let's just do some streaking here. I mean, how is that any different than what you might do? You actually couldn't do this. You get a smoother result with this than you do trying to work over some kind of weird gloss varnish or whatever. It's 9 a.m. for ugly. Still a few hours to go before bedtime. Look at this. Just gonna chop that up a bit more. I am gonna I'm gonna grab me a cough drop though, if you don't mind, so that I can keep this voice going here. Look at that. All that fun stuff going on in that turret. Where'd you go? There we go. So don't mind me. There we go. Let's get some back here. Don't want to forget. It's simple enough. And then we'll just do some stuff like this. Turn it the other way. And do stuff like that. Remember, I like to take the undersides of the turrets, and I think you can see this. Look at this. I mean, just it doesn't get any easier than that. It's painfully easy. Let's go around the rest of our turret here. It doesn't always have to be rust. It could just be some kind of darker color here. When do you ever see folk? Look at that. Look at all that fun stuff going on there on that turret. Oh, and here's the other benefits of your... So, this is your 25-cent craft brush that I've been working with. Okay, you get that type of brush stroke, but look what you get. You also get that. Let's see. Lady B is back. Lady B has returned. And Trashorama, how are you doing? Yeah, well, it's either that or the unicorn's blood, one or the other. You know what? Let's let's get a little bit of our Terra Rosa in here for a little bit of. Look at how tight of a line that. This is again a 25, 27 cent craft brush that I've been beaten to snot Not just this session either. I've been using it like crazy for about a week and a half. And yet we set it on its end. What can it do? Stuff like that. Then we'll take again, one here that's a little bit drier. We'll take that streak and we're just gonna fade that out. Let's do a little bit of fading on some of these streaks here. On this side as well. See that? The reason that's doing that is because it's over wet oils, not over gloss coat. And I do have to review that. I apologize for sounding harsh. It's just when you have to deal with the kind of resistance sometimes that you have to deal with, you sometimes get a little less patient. There, look at this. I mean, because hashtag results, when you can see it happening in front of you, it's just hard to deny what's possible. And I'm also going to go in here. I like taking some of that chipping coat, and I like to kind of stain that as well. Let's move some of this around again. And as you start to check this, you say, you know what, that's not quite so smooth. I want to smooth that out. Like I can do over here. Smooth that, all that. Look at how nice and smooth that gets to be. No colors needed, no precise colors or anything like that. You just kind of take some green, you take a little of this, a little of that, you move it around, and poof, you got yourself a BT7. Landrast still in the house. He's painting my first minis with oils. And I'm just looking, I want to make... okay, I think I'm all caught up. I am now going to do a wee bit of smoothing out here. And then we're going to go back to our larger chips. We got a little bit, well, I don't want to say distracted. We just got drawn into another aspect of things here. So let's do some more solid chippy type stuff here along the top edge of this, and maybe our hatches here too. And then we'll go in with some of our lighter rust effects as well, because we added kind of the darker rust. Then we want to
spark my ganja.
We want to welcome in Potato Stars. Thank you so much for the follow. It's appreciated. Okay, so I just took this brush and I just kind of spread those things out, just kind of absent-mindedly, just to make myself a little bit of a chipping brush. Any brush can be a chipping brush. You know what? Yeah, let's get a little bit more of our... Let's move this thing out of our way. Get some more on these turrets here. More of our chip in, just cause. Very nice. Also trying to focus on, okay, where would they be walking around? You know, that some of these, now if the hatch is heavy enough, they basically have to stand on the tank. I mean, it was the chieftain, right? Is that not the thing that he does in every episode? Not tank chats. That's a different crew there. But the chieftain, when he's doing his little talks, well, there's the, oh my God, the tank is on fire. But the guy who is 14 feet 12 inches tall, or 14 feet 10 inches tall, trying to stick himself into a, oh gosh, he's trying to crawl into a Hetzer. And he's bashing his head and knees on every freaking thing inside and outside the tank. I'm surprised he has any knuckles left. And for those of you not familiar with the Chieftain, just do a YouTube search. He does tank stuff. Let's see. We got Insomnia. It was the bust and the quickest mini I ever painted. Oh, Tresham asks if you had a chance to look at the Vex airbrush. The only airbrush that I even use anyway is just the Badger, and even at that, it's mostly just the 105. Because for me, the airbrush is basically just a small water cannon, and it's mostly just for priming. I barely do any kind of painting with it. Essentially, this is all I needed to do. If it can do this, that's all I need. Now, I will say, I actually have done airbrushing. I've got 2 YouTube videos. Where's my creature, my blackheart stuff? Here we go. So that one right there, that was mostly done with an airbrush. I also have another. I also have another YouTube video of something that was done with an airbrush. So I have used an airbrush before to actually do painty type stuff. But when you got oils like this, it's just it makes way less sense to be taking the time to try and mask things off and have to clean airbrushes and do that kind of stuff. If that makes any kind of sense at all. I hope it does. I'm just going to give these actually just tan handle on these pioneering tools back here. Before I forget, I've done too many German vehicles of late, and I keep thinking, oh, we'll just make them red. But no, we won't do that. We'll go something different here. Oh, yeah, sorry, Tresh. I wish I had a better answer for you. Now, I can show you in just a flash here. I'm just going to do this, and then we'll let that paint sit there. Okay, that's good. So back in the old days of 2D art, I did actually use an airbrush with watercolors. So you can see there's some airbrush action going on there. And if you look at the blow, there's again some more airbrush action. Actually, I had a beautiful compressor. It actually had a foot pedal, and you could actually change the air pressure going through your hose just by stepping on that foot pedal. It was amazing. I love that thing. And it cost a lot, so when that thing died, there was no replacing it. And then I just didn't use the airbrush anymore until at a certain point, Ken sort of insisted that I have an airbrush again. And, well, I use it for painting terrain, that's for sure. Now we're going to get some lighter stuff here with our greens on our toolboxes. Same over here. It's just a very simple. And yes, this is all wet over wet. Everything here is wet over wet. It can obviously be done. You gotta be aware. How thick is that paint? Where I'm painting this right now, how thick is the paint underneath it? If the paint's not sticking there, that means what I'm putting on is either too thin or too thick. The miniature will always let you know if it's too thick or if it's too thin. Actually, I did a painting of him, and he actually signed that. Actually, I've got let's see, Peter Jurasik, Mira Furlan, Terry Farrell. I've got the between Star Trek and B5, mostly B5. But I've got some paintings that were signed by them, which was kind of wild. They kind of felt a little weird signing paintings that were done by somebody else. I'm going to sneak a little bit, look at that, I can sneak a little bit of lighter green in here. Same over here. And apparently, I have plenty of thin paint there because this thicker paint is really sticking nice. That's sticking very nice. Now I'm going to change that brush stroke to vertical. See how we got a couple of streaks out of that now? Let's see. Oh, basically most everybody on B5 is dead. Garibaldi's dead. Uh, Zach is dead. Londo's dead. Jakar's dead. Veer's dead. I think basically like 2/3. Oh, the doctor is dead. Yeah, most of them are dead, which that kind of hurts the potential of a ever return to B5 again, sadly. So we're going to get sort of a little bit of lighter green up here too. Look at that. See how nice and smooth that can be. Let's see. Oh, just now it's a little bit conversation back and forth about dead Trek or not. Let's get some lighter green in here too. And no, that is not going to be a new chat point reward. That will not be a new chat point reward. Or whatever they call that stuff. I don't even know. I don't know. I don't care. I'm just having fun painting my BT7 here. And I might even sneak in a little more Oh My Green. So I'm taking some of that is burnt or raw umber, sorry, combined with that green. Do I want to? Yeah, I'll mess around a little bit with that here too. Okay, we're going to have to turn this upside down to get some streaks going that way. What about back here? We're going to do something like this to get this a little lighter in places. Perhaps even a little lighter. And then we're going to go in here. Oh, I don't know. With something like rust. Something that says rust. Like that. And then we'll just streak this down. Look at how fun this is. Look at those nice little delicate streaks of rust. All done wet, over wet. We'll do some of that here. And gee, if you say, my good, that's soft, but it's not even soft enough. Let's make it a little bit softer. Take a different brush here. And we'll soften that even more. If it has to be softer, we can make it even more soft. I mean, it's just, it's too easy. Oh yeah, we gotta do some, we'll be doing some stuff up here too on this grading. Where did, there it is. There you are. So here's some of our, that's pretty much your straight up ivory black. Let's darken this down just a bit, shall we? Oh, let's do the same over here. And the same over here. Do we need... Oh, I'm going to grab a little touch of that indigo, cause... Touch my white spirits there. We darken this down. Now that grading starts to look like there's actually something dark underneath there. Just waiting for some Finnish guy to chuck a Molotov cocktail down in there and make things go boom. Oh, we could probably do it a little bit of chips over here. Why not? We really did turn anything into a chipping brush at this point. I think we got some decent enough chip going on the leading edge of that front part of the hull there. So let's maybe do some potentially... No, we gotta take our little sponge here. Don't want to miss out on our sponge. Let's sponge a couple of things onto here. For sure. Ah, this is one of my favorite places to add that. Look at that. On that bottom edge of turrets, especially. Well, I think even even your T-34, your early T-34, it had a little bit of an overhang on the back of the turret there, because that was still a two-man turret. I don't think they had the three-man turret until the T-34-85. So at least that's the story I'm going with. Okay, and I think that just about takes care of that. Let's go with some perhaps lighter rust here, which means this one. This is the same thing that we were using over here. And oh, look at how that's dried. That has actually dried different. Yeah, you can really, wow, okay, that dries a lot lighter than when you initially have. Now, of course, I did several layers of this. Yeah, there were definitely several layers. Look at that. But that's very fun. So, I mean, you can see the two different colors, the technique's exactly the same. The ideas, the principles, all the same. So Anzig asks, 1 minute. So this, I can just get this on Amazon right here. It's from Speedball. That's a kind of a big name in the industry. This is high quality right here. And when it says odorless, it means odorless. I can hold this thing right under my nose and I don't even know it's open. Believe me, the other stuff that's nasty, you would know that that stuff is open because your eyeballs would be melting. All right, let's grab our, there's that. And let's see, do you play a lot of bolt action? Oh, geez, well, so this is right here. This was last year in November. Was it last year in November? Yeah, this was last year in November. This is my Monte Cassino 1944 themed Fallschirmjägers. That's my last army right there. Now, you also here, I will show you what's now. Normally, this has to be claimed with a chat point reward thing, but let's. This was actually the latest Warhammer army right here. So that's your Tomb Kings right there. That army, I think I developed at least a dozen of my painting video techniques from this army. So the fluorescent paints, where did it come from? It came from this army. I actually did you can look on my blog. It's just wappeliusblogspot.com. There's 117 articles just on this army alone. I scratch built a ton of stuff, but you can see the impact that the fluorescents have, and that was literally the first army that I ever used them on. And let's see, so the Lizard Man, there's your Babo's trophy right there, but Bilbo's Bash. I also have, well, I think 7 Lord of the Rings armies now. So where's my Lord of the Rings stuff? Because we've got 1 or 2 of those going on. Here, let's get down to our Rohan. Oh, and actually also doing, what is that called? Warcry. So there's my Harad army. Love doing the desert bases. And my Rohan army. Yes, indeed. And my Dol Amroth army. Love my horsey. Look at that nice little freehand. My Army of the Dead. My Morgul Knights. And then there was all of the Song of Ice and Fire. And I've done hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of Song of Ice and Fire miniatures. Pyros. I did an entire Baratheon army. There's some slides for you. Oh, look, and those were all done in oils. I'm going to be doing another army painting series on those guys. Oh, thanks, Antic. And Snowiak is still around. Oh, thanks, Gimme. Thank you so much. Now, here's that lighter rust. This is, wow, this is really freaking light here. We'll see how this works. Let's see what happens. You know what? I actually took a little bit of my thinner to this. I'll make sure you can see that. Maybe take some of that away. So here we're going to get some lighter rust now. I think we just have to approach it this way. Yeah, this little sable liner brush can do some interesting things, that's for sure. Let's get a little action here around our turret ring. Let's see. Blasto, the Rocket Boy. The fluorescent oils, they come from Marion Street. So you just Marion Street, and there's, oh my gosh, there's a bunch of them. Don't get I would avoid the purple one and the blue one and the green one. Just try the orange one. Again, at 15 bucks a container, try the orange one first. If you like it, then maybe, you know, get some of the other ones. Okay, so we got a little spot of rust here. What are we going to do? Just going to draw that rust right down. Look at that. How fun was that? And this lighter colored rust, we're not going to do quite as much of it. We're really going to focus that here in certain places. Again, not doing too much of it at all. We'll streak some of that right here. Look at that. Nice streak again. We've even got our little blending brush in here. We can maybe take a little bit of that away, maybe even spread it around a little bit. Let's see, what will that dry exactly that tone? Now this, we looked at this vehicle over here. Now this did dry, and again, this is the AK Interactive stuff. So that dried a little bit lighter than when we applied it on there. I don't think it's going to be supremely different. It's probably not even going to dry that much because I'm mixing it with my own color here. I'm mixing that with some of the Terra Rosa. Whoops, wrong brush. That's the right brush. I was wondering why that had so much dark paint in it. Here, let's get a little bit of our rusty color back in here. And let's get some lighter rust. Here we're going to put some of the lighter rust also on our treads. And then we're actually going to take some of the MIG Ammo metallic oils, and we'll give the treads a little touch of the metallic stuff too. Yeah, just having some fun here with our lighter rust color. Focusing around some of these lug nuts there. Go a little rust on. And our sprocket back here. Some, again, lighter rust. This is almost got more Terra Rosa in it than anything else. Let's see. Oh, thanks, M-Tellies. I appreciate that. Let's see, just a wee more before work starts. Sorry if I missed that. I got a little distracted here with all my rust. Having some fun with that. Just popping some rust on those treads. I might even go also a little bit darker too on the treads here. All the options are open. That's the sweet thing. Oh, look at this. Okay, like right here. You can see. What we're going to do, we're just going to take this. I'm just going to literally pull that right up here. See how now there's not quite that edge there, but we also got some streaks out of it. We're going to do the same thing here. It's going to soften that up, but now we also got some streaks out of that. softens it up. It gives us some streaks. All good things. Look at that. And I've got a ton of these. They're 25 cents a piece, or well, however much sales tax happens to be by you. Here it's 12%, so we get murdered on that. But there you go. That's what they are. There's 12 of them. Yes, $5 in there. Now, where did my little... There it is. Where did my little brush go? I think I'm going to hit some of these rivets with a little bit of the lighter. And maybe even the rivet itself has a bit of rust on it. Maybe this much rust, maybe not. But whatever. Heck, we haven't even spattered any mud on this yet. We haven't done any kind of mud whatsoever. And what are we going to use to maybe make our mud? Oh, I'm thinking we're going to use some weathering powders and some oil paints because, you know, why not? you don't know how many times I've been almost tempted to say that, Trash. It's come close to happening, especially since now we're pushing 8 hours into this stream right here. Which is real interesting because tomorrow's stream is supposed to also be another like 8 hours or so. If I can survive that. So what, a little bit of like 16, 20 hours of streaming over the weekend, just a little light exercise. But hey, it's historicals. Look at that capillary action. Don't we love that? Do we not love the capillary of the oils? Because it lets us do all the fun things. Oh, like get that nice little bit of rust right in there. Look at that. Nice little sneaky bit of rust. Oh, maybe we'll get a little bit of this out along the edge here. Oh, look at that. It's blending together with some of the existing things that we have. And in reality, did I need any kind of specialty product for any of this stuff? No, not really. Pretty much just going with my own paints. I didn't make them myself, but I did do all the pre-thinning. Believe me, because I think I redid 3 containers before I started this thing today. Look at that. So much fun. And I'm just thinking that, speaking of rivets and rivet, Imperial Guard vehicles, those storm blades and stuff with 40,000 rivets on them, maybe more. Let's see, I love Terry Pratchett, just lurking here, M-Tellys, and painting some Imperial Fist. Well, speaking of Imperial Fist, look at this. We're going to do the same thing there. Look at that, here, let's take some of the paint out of there. And then we're just going to blend that together. Is this not nice? So let's get this matched up here. So turret and vehicle, again, the BT7. I will take a touch of my...
Hello, little hobbits. Spark my ganja.
Thank you so much for the follow, K10. K10 and Daleks. Let's get some a little touch of lighter rust here so we can just do a for grins, just because I want to do a nice little streak right here. Bang. Yes, I want to just do some streaks there, just because I want to do them. Do they necessarily have to be there? Nah, but it would be fun. Would it be fun to have them there? Yes. Sometimes you just do stuff for fun. Do I need any more? Okay, we'll do this, and then let's get some of our metal. And that's going to be this one right. This is one of the MIG ammo. Is this steel? Oh, gunmetal. Better yet. Better yet. And that is, yes, it is a metallic oil, which we're going to shove up here. We're actually going to mix a little bit of brown with that. Again, any color can become a metallic. I'm just going to, again, clean out that brush just with the paper towel. That's all. So we've got, look at that nice filbert style brush. Here's our metal. I'm going to mix it with a little bit of that brown. And just dust this right over the top here. I might need to, oh, actually I got some more of my metal over here. I mean, it's not like there's a whole bunch of this track showing anyways, so I mean that's just about good enough there. Now we were just, what we were just talking about, we're talking about making, let's get some of this stuff out of the way here. Just I need some room here. Just going to take away some of these guys, get them out of my way. All right. And the idea is very much like, because I did this here. Speaking of Song of Ice and Fire, so that is weathering powders, well, in addition to the snow, but all of that, that's weathering powders and oil paint mixed together, okay? Let's put this out of harm's way over here. And let's grab ourselves something that could be good for mud. Now that's Russian earth. That's a good one. And then some of the soil here. And maybe some black and ancient earth that's got a little bit of a grainishness to it. All right, so Russian earth. Why am I shaking up weathering powders? I don't know, maybe because I've been doing this a little bit too long. Let's chuck a little bit more out there. I'll just mix a little bit first, just so you can see what's happening here. And again, what we want to do is get this in the tracks. But we also want it to have body. Look at how much body that has. We want that to have that kind of body as well. Oh, we got Dark Side Hobbyist still around, still hanging around. All right. So I'm just going to clean that brush just a bit. Going to take another one of these brushes here, and let's just throw some oils in here. Well, first, throw a little bit of that dust effects in there, just some liquid. Okay. Take this stupid thing off of here. Or not. There we go. So we're just gonna, a little bit of that as kind of a thinner. And let's throw, what kind of a color could be fun to use, like a raw umber. There we go. Let's mix this all together and see what we get. So instead of a plaster, and because there's so much thinner, you see how it's got a little bit of body to it, but and the more of the weathering powder there is, the drier it gets. There. Okay, now we've got that, but wait, there's more. We've got somewhere around here, I think. Aha, look at that. That's from Luke's APS, so we're going to have that handy. Let's not have that in harm's way. So what we can do now is I'm going to throw a little bit more of my weathering powder in. Oh, you know what? Okay, look at this. let's give this some real texture. How's that? Actually, that's a bit of a branch right there. I don't think we need that. But again, this is from Luke's Sake PS. I'm just going to dump a little bit of this in here. And now our mud has some real genuine texture to it. That has some dark mud right there. I'm going to get some lighter texture in here now. Okay. So a little bit of homemade mud and soil and other junk in here. Let's make it somewhat lighter in part of it. Let's mix another batch inside our little container here. I'm just going to take that much out, because the lighter, your drier your mud, the lighter it is. Look at this. Look at the difference. See that difference right there? That's just because we've got more of the weathering powder in there and less of the oil paint. Let's do this. And we're just going to slop some of this on here. Look at, see how we're getting some texture on that? Look at this. Nice chunks of texture. Let's get a little bit of this into our tracks now. Up here. Now you know I didn't really spend a whole lot of time painting tracks because, well, we kind of knew this was coming. Let's get a little bit of our mud. Spatter on some of our wheels too. Yeah, look at that nice big old chunk that's hanging off of there. Look at that. See all that that texture there? And this has all entirely been wet into wet, into wet, into wet. I am gonna actually lighten this up a little bit more with some ancient earth here again. So let's throw just a touch more of this into here. There we go. So look at how dry this is now, and look at how thick it's getting. So it's drier, it's thicker, and it's going to be lighter. Gotta remember that too. We are also changing the color. I know it looks dark there. Look at how thick that is. That's a little bit different, huh? Now, Yesik is still around. I'm surprised at this point I don't try to shake literally everything I use or consume at this point. Yeah, that's true. Let's see, getting tired at this point.
Little hobbit, spark my ganja.
Yeah, this is, like I say, I really, really, really miss this as we welcome it. JCan Official, thank you so much for the follow. Oh, look at that. Look at that big old chunk of mud right there. Let's get some of that into our treads. Let's get some of that up here too. Well, there's other reasons too why I've been just a little nervous about doing historical things, just because of so many things have changed. And there is a certain amount of rivet counting that happens too, just within the historical community. Like, that guy's underwear is not the right shade of green. It's like, well, he's wearing pants. Doesn't matter. I have a swatch. I have a color chip. It's this color. So there was a little bit of that too. Just for a variety. There was several reasons why kind of had gotten away from what I really enjoy, which is I like things that are something that I can pick up a history book or see a documentary and then basically play it out on a tabletop or do the what if stuff. Look at that. Look at that juicy mud. Let's get some juicy mud sitting on the back of this thing. Look at that. Look at how clumpy that is. Is that not cool? At least I don't have to put this on my turret. I mean, it's kind of... Oh, look at that. Look at that blobby mud back there. This thing must be driving around the Pripyat marshes, I'll tell you that. Oh, Professor Mortis, how are you doing? I'm just going to rub Nutella on my tank, so that way if I get hungry, I have a snack. Yeah, underwear definitely can be important. Now, of course, if you have commandos, well, maybe underwear is not so important. Yeah, commandos, underwear less critical for commandos. Now, this more wet mud, maybe. Oh, look at those nice big old chunks of mud. Let's get some of that on our... You know, I could toss some static grass in here too. All right, let's get a little bit of our even lighter color. And I might even do that with the color of my paint here. Yeah, let's just do this. Ooh, that's too light. Ooh, let's get some of the... Yes, let's do some of that. So now that's a little bit lighter. It's still reasonably thick. Boy, we're getting into Kursk soil right here. We're getting away from the Pripyat marshes. I sprayed an LVT with Russian green. Come at me. And LVT4 with Russian green. Come at me. Look at that. Now I got that lighter mud color going on. Now you know I didn't get too crazy with painting the highlights on those wheels. But there was one guy that actually, well, just some of the insane arguments that I've just seen play out on Facebook and such, so unnecessary. Oh my gosh, it's like, man, so other people must have way more free time on their hands than I do. There's again a lighter mud color here, which will go out. Oh, look at that, nice big old chunks of it there. Do we need some? Yeah, you know what? I'm literally just kind of using the treads themselves to scoop some of the mud off here. If I had some static grass, I'd throw it. Oh, wait a minute. Wait a minute, what am I doing here? What the heck? I got this stuff. This could be fun. I've never done this before. Ooh, that's kind of neat. That's kind of neat. Of course, I need to do this when it's still wet, not when it's dry, but that's kind of fun. I haven't done that before. I'm going to dump some of this into my wet oil paint. Just cause. I'll dump some more of that back in there. Don't need that piece sitting there. You know what? Maybe a touch of it there. So now we've got almost looks like a little bit of just stuff kind of here in the treads in addition to the mud. What I want to do now is make something that is nice and light for some spatter. Spatter brush. Spatter brush. Now, I don't know if I'll be able to set this up so you can see it. That is the one problem with the spatter thing, trying to do that on camera. It's really tough to make it where you can see it. However, I just need to find something here to see what kind of spatter we're getting. I think I need more whites. Ooh, look at that. Check that out. That's a nice spatter right there. Let's see. This needle, we brought it for servicing when you get done. Now, how can I... Oh, you can see this. I'd rather not do that, but it is what it is. I'm going to start with a little spatter there. And let's do some spatter here. Some on the sides. There we go. We just made our own mud spatter. Because we can do this. We can do this. That's dangerous. That might be less dangerous. And just bear with me here while I give myself some spatter on this. Come on. Stay there. Okay. Flip you over. Spatter. Like so. Again, that's one of those cheap mo brushes that was kind of destroyed beyond all repair. Now we got some spatter going on here. And we got muddy fingers. Let's see if we can't get some of that paint off of there. So yeah, that was a little bit of homemade mud, because it's mud. You made it, and I made it at home. I like the little extra texture that those that little leafy stuff gave me. Now let's get some metal colors maybe on those pioneering tools. Why don't we? Do we have any? We do still have some metal paint left over here. Let's just do that. And it's going to be that kind of blackened steel type of thing. Muddy Fingers was my stage name. Just a hint of glinty steel there of some kind. Spruce Chop reading "Welcome to Wappelville." Oh, okay, that's very cool. Let me just I'm gonna get a little bit of my metal stuff on that grating there, and then we'll come in here with some more of our highlights and such. So let's take a trip to Wappelville. Now this is it's interesting because with all of the terrain that I'm going to be doing, this is here. Let's get to my looking for my Wappelville stuff here. Oh, okay, that's up here. There we go. So welcome to Wappelville. The buildings that you see, those are actually MDF, and I think I've got 100 different articles on all of the Wild West Exodus stuff here. And there's a little nicer view of the town. You've got the train tracks, you've got your watchtower, you got your stable, you got your church, you got the jail, you've got the La Flamante Rose, the House of Horizontal Refreshment. Back to the train station, we've got the water tower. And that was all made by Burn-In Designs, that terrain. So here's some more. And we made those, see the little grave counters? That was actually for another little, one of our battle reports. And I would have loved to do these in oils. Good grief. It would have taken half the time, maybe less than half the time. And here's your Dark Nation figures on the right, and on the left, that is Warrior Nation. You see that big old elk back there? His base is the size of a DVD. So if you're looking for, like, the smallest figure on there is a 30 millimeter, 32 millimeter figure, something like that. And that was actually, let's see, yeah, so that's where some of the crystal brushes came from, that and the Tomb Kings and such. Some of my Wild West Exodus stuff to actually bring in some awards. Now let's go in with some lighter stuff here while we're at it. Oh, thanks, Professor Mortis. I appreciate it. Now, A little bit lighter with our green. Let's pick out a couple of lighter spots here. Like back here. These guys, maybe some lighter stuff over here. It's all oils. If I don't like it, all I have to do is just wipe it all away. That is the nice thing. It's the wonderful thing about oils. It never has to be permanent. What is that? It's never, there are no mistakes in oils. There's just a makeup sponge. Yeah, I could still pick out some of these nuts right here. Why not? At this point, it's all up to you. Whatever you need to do with your vehicle. It's your BT7. Well, in this case, it's my BT7, so I get to do with it as I please. I mean, I get to do spattery things to it. I get to spatter it as much as I darn well please. I also can get in here and smooth out some of that. It's a little better. We'll smooth out some of this back here too. Now, where's my turret? Keep these things going together. Yeah, those greens line up pretty well. Let's move you out of the way. Let's get let's get some of our weathering powder out of the way as well. I don't think I really have to bother cleaning up this table very much because, well, there's going to be a lot of weathering powders, well, later today because now it's 2:07 in the morning. And we've been doing this for 8 hours and 7 minutes. As it was said before, somebody must like doing historical stuff. I mean, we've only painted 2 tanks and several miniatures during this time. That's not a bad 8 hours work. Just getting a little bit of my lighter colors over here. Boy, that mud really did kick it on. There's even a little bit of cracking going on there. So that, I call that very successful there. I did actually enjoy mixing in the Luke's APS material too with that mud. Now I can see I've got to go in here. You can't really see it because of the angle. That's better. There was just something that had to be smoothed out there a little bit. I see we even got a little bit of our spatter up here. Not that that's a bad thing. Wonder how much spatter I got on the turret. No, didn't get any spatter on the turret. Oh well. Not that that's a bad thing. I will soften up just a couple of these. Let some of the mud mix in. Look at that. Nice, just encrusted on that tire there. And I might just get some of that, a little bit of refuse that got on here. We'll brush some of that away. I might go a little bit lighter green on the headlight covers there. Maybe that not quite so chipped back there. A little lighter on the top of that toolbox. And then smooth that out. That's where I use this smaller brush there. Come back in here with the more of a blending brush like this. Smooth things out. No problem, Trash. It's, like I said, just, I never get a chance to. It's the consequence when you do this kind of thing for a living, that you are very much less likely to be painting the stuff that you really would actually like to be painting, and you end up painting other stuff. You try and make that other stuff as fun as you can. I think we've got that pretty well blended up. Turret ring there. Let's see what kind of additional blending can happen on this. Yeah, we'll soften that up a bit. We've got all kinds of nifty layers. Look at that. So many nifty layers of things. Now this little dot of rust, maybe we just get rid of that. And now I'll just give that brush a bit of a swipe and smoothing out some more things here. Maybe we find some lighter areas too on the top of this turret. I don't necessarily want to call them highlights, but I guess they're sort of that. Let's find a couple of lighter colors here on our barrel. Oh, Leviathan, how are you doing? Hey, Momo. Yeah, I think the sound should be fine. Because, well... Oh, thanks, Leviathan. I appreciate that. We've been going at this for about 8+ hours, and no, I haven't been booted offline yet. Although that does kind of happen sometimes in the late night streams, especially now that it's almost 2:45 in the morning. I do want to get a little more definition over here on this, on the mantlet, if I can.
Hello, little hobbits. Spark my ganja.
Thank you so much, Horns for Halo. I appreciate the follow, and so does Gandalf. Couple more of our... Yeah, let's just do a couple of light spots in here. I think of it as another type of that sort of sun bleaching and rain weathering, and just kind of like what happens on your vehicle. Just sitting out in front of your house, getting bleached in the sun. Blending brush time again. Like this. Yeah, look at that. We'll do a similar thing right over here. And up there. Just got to remember to clean out some of the refuse in that brush. So many fun little things going on there. Let's see if we can't dust something a little bit lighter over those light, and let's smooth out this barrel.
Spark my ganja.
Thanks, Leviathan. I appreciate the follow, and obviously Gandalf does too. And I think, oh, why not? That's, ooh, look at that fun little sweep of the lighter gray. Hey, oh, Michael, how are you doing? It seems that Twitch blocks sometimes here in Australia. You know what? I could see it. Any kind of weird thing when someone says Twitch does this weird thing, I just say, yeah, I could see Twitch doing that. Because Twitch, unfollow. How many times does Twitch unfollow people? When you don't want to be unfollowing, you just find all of a sudden, like, wait a minute, I was following this person. How all of a sudden am I not following them anymore? So we just added a nice little extra hint of our lighter green there. Oh, sorry there, Mike. Yeah, I should have known. I should have known. Well, again, this is oh, hey, Pascal. Yeah, I've been at this for 8 hours and 15 minutes with no breaks. Actually, I haven't even gone to the bathroom, which we're gonna have to start thinking about pretty soon here. Basically, yes, this has been non-stop for 8 hours, 15 minutes, and 15 seconds. Oh my goodness, that is a wee bit longer than what we originally intended. But I do want to say thanks to everybody that has joined me on this. And, well, in just a matter of hours, we're going to be back at this again because we've got winter stuff to do. So this has been, fun with the oils here on a pair of vehicles.